Right. So picking up where I left off. If I want if I wanted the switching mechanism to work with other review bots other than just the Momo Sushi, then where I put where there's the if statement that runs that schema and that parser only when the system prompt is set to Momo Sushi. I'm gonna need to change that to um, so yeah, instead of where is it? If where is it? If system prompt equals Momo Sushi. So if is set type and type equals review, then it should run the review bot. So it's still not using the first thing properly. Probably a simple fix there. Good. Okay. Return to index. Okay. So that works properly. Now, I just want to check what happens if I try to access it via parameters. Uh-oh. It doesn't really seem to be working, to be honest. Yeah, it's not working properly. That sucks. That's bad. I don't know why that's happening. That's a big bug. It's going to cause me problems. Because that means I cannot go directly to a chatbot. I have to start at the index and go there. Otherwise, it won't work well. So I have to fix that. How are you feeling today? Oh man. Yeah, so having a parameter in there just wrecks everything. So I'm gonna have to figure out why that is. Not good. But that's mostly a debugging thing. Anyways, let's see whether or not we can go get a different system prompt from a different review. And okay, so I'm copying a system prompt from the review bots directory. I'm going to put it into this new directory. And then I got to rename it so that it follows the naming convention of the files in this directory. And then I need to add a type value. And let's see if it's in there. The terminal bar. And let's see if it successfully helps me create a good comedy. Write jokes. Good. Okay. So that only took a few steps, like 3 steps, but ultimately I can get that down to 0 steps, having that all be automated. Okay, so now the review bots and the web form bots and the FAQ bots are interchangeable. And if I wanted to add a different type of bot to this, it'd be pretty simple. I just need to add an if statement where it's like if it's this type, then run this schema and this parser, which the parser and the schema file should already exist in the directory for that type of bot. And we still have tons of debugging to do to make this useful in any way. I can endless amount of debugging. Anyways, so one thing that's been giving me issues lately, let's see here, is I make demos for people and then I don't know the URL for the demo. For example, let's see here. I know where it is. There we go. Well, this kind of sucks because this is a rag bot, and so to make it so that it can swap between rag bots, that's going to be a whole nother thing, which I should do. But right now, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new web form. So I took a different web form and follow this as a template. Make a prompt that will ask the user their name, the song they want to sing, and what are the 3 pieces of information that you have to put? And the artist. The artist. Ask the questions below one at a time. Don't repeat anything already answered. Keep prompts short. Encourage one-line answers. After all required answers are gathered, summarize name, song title, and artist. Ask for confirmation. If the user goes off topic, answer briefly and return to the next unanswered question. Okay, that's cool. That's great. Welcome to Karaoke Night. Let's get you signed up to sing. All right. So now when we list the bots, it should say wait. Okay. Did I put this in the right place? I did. This is weird. I don't know what's going on. What is happening here? Okay. It might be that I just need to refresh the chat. I don't understand why. I don't actually think it ever left the index there. I should have, though, because it did send 2 messages there. Sign me up. Okay, this is very much not working properly. Let's just see what happens if I rename it to be like that. All right, let's just see whether or not this one works purely by parameter, which it will not. There's no way, but. Yeah, it's not working. That sucks. All right. Well, we're going to have to fix that. That sucks, but it also defeats the whole point of what I was trying to accomplish there, because the whole idea was that I would add a sign-up sheet here. But anyways, at least I can probably demonstrate what I was trying to accomplish here. Let me see something. If I click on leave a Google review, where does it bring me to? Tegus Launch Review Bot. Yep. Okay. So let's go get that system prompt. Okay. Let's go save that system prompt in our new directory with the switching function. Which apparently, for whatever reason, I cannot put a hyphen in the name of that file, otherwise it will break it. Oops, and I need to edit it so that it has a type value, and the type value is review. Show. What the hell? It's not working. Why is it not working? The hell? Yeah, this is not right at all. Okay, well, there was an insane number of bugs there, but ultimately, ultimately, we do have an example of a situation where you can sign up, where the sign up and the Google review are like interchangeable. So if I were to separate out these files and make it so that there's a bot that only has access to these, and then it can say to you, do you want to sign up for a song or do you want to leave a Google review? And you choose which one, and then it'll immediately move you along to that. And if I get the URL parameters working properly as well, then I can have buttons for those options as well instead of just chat. So I kind of hate myself for saying this, but I should work on the rag bot right now. Adding in the rag bot, it's not going to happen. I can't do it. But what I can do is just go take a look at how that thing freaking works in the first place. Just take a look at how it works. Oh, okay. Where is this going to take me? Okay, so it goes to rag bots. That's good. That is good. So the question now is, how do the rag bots work? Let's walk through it. So there's no JSON. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so the way it's working right now is that the vector store, let me see here. So this is the ragbots directory. And even though it's called the ragbots directory, the only ragbot it has access to is this Vegas ragbot. So probably the best first step would be to make it so that there's a switcher between these ragbots rather than trying to go directly to implementing a switcher between the web forms and review bots and the ragbots. And then integrate the two when their file structure is a little bit more similar. However, yeah, No, you can't. You really can't skip steps. Skipping steps is how you end up with a giant mess to deal with. Okay, so for the rag bots, what all bots do we have here? Maybe, I don't know, probably if there's an easier one, then, so there's web forms, FAQs, which are truly the same. They don't require any change of schema. There's reviews, rag bots, and blog bots. That's what we're working with right now. So yeah, this is pretty much see, this is such a mess. It's like to get everything working properly to the point where I would show somebody, and then of course I need to show like hundreds of people and I need to figure out how to show it to them and make marketing material out of this before I can eventually, then I have to deliver it, then finally get paid. Like, man, that is a long process. And we are not even close to being done with the coding section of that, let alone moving on to the marketing, let alone moving on to the sales. Anyway, so let's take a look at what the Ragbot has as a system prompt. Nothing. The system prompt is empty. I'm going to need some music, but of course. Okay, you know what? Let's not get distracted. Let's not get distracted. Of course, life is going on around me, text messages, emails, social media posts, and I'm oblivious to all of it. And if I don't, if I actually go look at it, that will completely destroy the context I'm working with here. Okay, so, right, we have that. Okay, so the first step here is because the vector database is hard coded into the vector database is hard coded into the prompt, into the API call. So the first move would be to God, ChatGPT, stop making things more complicated than that. I literally don't need. Oh my God, you're freaking No. Oh my God. Okay. So supposedly ChatGPT has given me a line of code here that will work. And then I just need this right here. Okie dokie. Now, assuming that works and didn't break it, then this should work. Seems like it worked. So now to my OpenAI platform. Company info roofbot. So I need to find. I think that you have to, like, the project name. The project has to be under this vector store, and the project name and the API key all have to be in the same. Don't keep it in the same thing, then there will be a problem. So we're in the right project, and I'm creating a new vector store. Actually, no, maybe I just don't do that. So we already have a flame and tie vector store here. So if I go there, okay, so if I comment out the line with the vector store ID for Vegas Lounge, and then I replace it with the vector store ID for Flame and Tie, then okay. We'll see if it just swaps out. Interesting. It literally just tells me to order from the Flame and Tie, but something, which is that it is in fact answering from that vector store. So now what we're going to want to do is take the vector store out of the, instead of hard coding it, our vector store ID, instead of hard coding it into the file, we put it in the system prompt, and then we have it dynamically load the system prompts, basically. Okay. Let's see here. Just make sure. Yeah, okay. There's no file called system prompt yet. So, if we just say right here where it says where we're setting the system prompt to be nothing, instead of that, we're going to say include system prompt.php. Why is that not commented out properly? That does not look properly commented out. What the hell's going on? Huh. Weird. And now we're going to create a file in there that's called systemprompt.php. And now we are going to edit the file. And we're going to set the system prompt to say nothing. And then we're going to set the vector database inside of there. And I switched it back to Vegas. So, just refresh. Okay. So it knows that there are no. That's fine. Okay. So I think I might have to stop right here because so what I need to do now is set it up so that instead of, having to manually go and switch which vector database it's pulling from, it does that automatically based on either the URL parameter or it lists everything and then you choose which one. But that's a big task, and I've already been working at it for a while today. So I might have to let that go for now. As much as I would love to keep going on this. And I hate to leave it with a big task. And then after I do that, I need to integrate what I was doing earlier, which is the switching between review bots and FAQ bots, and make it so that it can also switch between reg bots without any problems seamlessly. which would mean I would have to update. I would have to make it so that this thing first runs the index, like the index bot and the index JSON and the index parser. And then after you choose which vector database you're trying to interact with, then it runs the system prompt for that vector database, which includes the vector database ID. Which, I mean, obviously I already have all this code. It's just a matter of copying and pasting. But then once you copy and paste it, you have to make sure that it works. It's going to be kind of a lot. And if I'm if I'm prioritizing showing people working demos, then I really should get the parameters working well and make a way to group the bots so that, like, if there's a Vegas review bot and a Vegas uh, like sign up form, that when you go to a specific URL parameter, it'll just keep you within that set of options rather than jumbling up those options with every other option, every other type of chatbot. Which shouldn't really be hard. But everything's hard. Everything's hard because once you like have a whole bunch of different files in all sorts of complex ways, then anytime you change anything, it's basically impossible to like think through the ramifications of every single change that you make. Which was kind of the point of modularizing these things in the first place. Anyway, so this is sort of the point I get to where it's like, okay, I could just like go for a walk, go to sleep, go for a walk and then go to sleep, just stay focused, but not let my mind wander onto another topic. And then come back to this as soon as I'm ready to keep going. And then I won't have to pay the context switching fee. But my money and my social meters are draining. And also, the number of other things that I have to do is piling up as I do this. So it's nice to be like, oh, well, I got a lot of coding done today. I made good progress on coding. So that's enough coding for today. I'll come back to it tomorrow. But if I do that and I get distracted, which of course I will get distracted. I mean, it's not a distraction. It's like these other things are important, regardless of whether it's like marketing or sales or just social life or, like maybe I go out, maybe I meet somebody, maybe I go sing karaoke, maybe anything. Maybe I get involved in some sort of a conflict or something. Maybe I sue somebody. So then tomorrow when I come back to this, it's like, again, it's like, oh, okay, what was I working on? Why was I working on it? Where was I at with this? And then like thinking about how long it's really going to take, because just making these like relatively minor edits today took a long time. It took the whole day, and there's still tons of bugs. So um, and so I'm going to have to reestablish the context. And once the context is established, I might be like, oh my god, this is going to take too long, and then I'll panic. Especially if I've checked in on like, where am I at financially, where am I at socially, where am I at with all this stuff, and then I'll be like, oh man, like I don't have another whole entire day to spend on coding. So even after I spend the time reestablishing the context, then I might look at the context and be like, holy shit, this is not okay. And then I won't be able to pick up here where I left off. So it's tempting to just be like, don't get out of code mode once you're in it. But if I don't get out of code mode once I'm in it, I will run out of money. I will get to a point where I'm dying of loneliness. I will burn out. So there's no good answer. Like either you switch contexts and you pay that fee, or you wait until you're forced to switch contexts and the fee is much greater, kind of. Or I could stay in code mode until I get it all done, get like things I need to get done, and then switch out, which is amazing in theory, but in reality, it's unlikely I'll really be able to sustain that level of focus long enough. And eventually I'll start to get tired and be like more sloppy with it. And um, yeah. But the other thing is, I would like now that I've spent the whole day inside coding, to be able to go out and socialize and interact with people, but show people things that I've done. Be able to show them something that I've done, something that is actually they're going to understand and it's going to be meaningful to them, and that they either would potentially become my client or they could at least become a referral source. If they at least know what I do and why I'm doing it and how I'm doing it and blah blah, then they can um, I can tell them, or yeah, then they can potentially tell other people. But that's actually a terrible idea, because the places I would go to, like the bar, like a bar or a restaurant or whatever, they're not really ideal clients for this. And honestly, if I'm going to be spending time like making demos and telling people about demos and talking with people, blah, blah, it should be with SEO companies because they are the ones who have the potential to uh, take over the sales for me and to make it so I don't have to switch contexts as often. And like I said at the beginning of today, uh, like if I were to make this, chatbot for Vegas, whatever, it's where's the traffic coming from? And a lot of these places, like if you look at their websites and their whatever, it's like they suck. Their websites suck. They don't even have like this. They don't have a karaoke. That's why it was an opportunity. It's because it sucks. Their website sucks and their karaoke system sucks and everything. But the reason it sucks is because they don't care. They don't value that. So then to try to get their attention and show this to them and get them to agree to pay me for it, it's not likely to succeed. And it's very likely that I will spend time on it and accomplish nothing. So it's almost better. I just go out, talk to people, clear my mind of all of this, have fun, meet people, whatever, and then come back to it fresh tomorrow. But that is also not going to happen. Now, another thing I could do is just get high on weed intentionally, because then I'll just have all sorts of ideas, creative ideas, and I'll have to get them done right away. And it won't be this type of coding where I'm like thinking logically and making it work, but I will come up with some like package that I can show somebody. All right. Anyways, I'm gonna go for a walk and get some food somehow, some way.